Hello everyone, welcome to my DELTARUNE theory. I call it Wingdingaster is the Roaring Night theory, and no, but I do have actually something kind of cool I've been thinking about recently, and this is gonna be entirely unscripted because this is more of a crackpot theory. I don't think it entirely lines up with the story or the themes of anything. And two, because I am lazy. Smile. And I don't want to waste any of your time really. So I'm just gonna get straight into it by saying the theory, and I'm gonna call it heart theory, sure, why not, is that I think the red soul is like not a traditional soul. At least it's not meant to exist in either world. And that sounds weird. But I do think that the red soul itself is a creation of Mr. Wingdingaster. Now, there's a lot of contradicting evidence, like, oh, what about Kara? Oh, what about this or that you might have missed? And it's like, well, at least with Kara, I have a decent explanation. But if there's like some seriously big evidence I missed, then it's like, fuck, I don't got something for that. But yeah, don't take this the most seriously, I guess. It's just meant to be a fun little what if, or a fun little, hey, this might be true. Maybe Tony did something funny. He's tricky. He's tricky like that. He'll jump around. He'll hide things. Let's start off with the parallel between Chris and Frisk, because it's weird to me that Frisk is entirely emotionless, and Chris just isn't. Like that makes no sense. If one, they're both human. If one is going to be completely emotionless, then why isn't the other? Or vice versa. Why is one have emotion but the other doesn't? And I think the genuine only explanation for this is that Frisk might genuinely be a vessel, from the Gauntlet Maker, that kind of vessel. And I know that sounds crazy, but it would explain why Frisk does not stop your actions. Except with one tiny exception with but Peeps, what about Snowdrake's mother? What about that one piece of dialogue that completely contradicts this? With the autonomy. The Chris has a little bit of that particle. And I'm just gonna say, if you remember that, first of all, you're a nerd. Yeah, I'm calling out my friend, Jorkington. Yeah, you're a nerd. And, second of all, there's a potential explanation with how the guy in the Chakakuri egg room, the Rudin, says that if you color in copies with care, then there is, if you color in copies with care. And I do think that's partially why Frisk gains the autonomy near the end, because during the pacifist route, you're coloring them in with so much care that you're effectively making a new being. And that kind of parallels Dark Worlds in a way where the objects you gave personalities to kind of reflect them, that personality you gave them in the light world if you played them as toys. So there's kind of an interesting parallel there, I think. Maybe? And yeah, that's I think that's okay. I'll find Carl. I'll talk about Carl. Kara is a weird character. I think even with the explanation I'm about to give, it doesn't explain everything about them. I'm gonna be honest, I don't know Kara's whole story. I'm not really that interested in learning about it. I don't know, Kara's kind of a nothing burger to me. But I think this theory is potentially interesting related to them. But I think with Gaster's shattering across space and time, right? He can go back and alter things. And I think Undertale being a game in universe allows you to change the events of it. You can't change what already happened, but you can alter it. And so I just realized it didn't actually explain what I think the Red Soul is. I probably should have started with that. I think the Red Soul is just a way to connect us to both these games. Because we are literally summoned in the Deltarune Gonamaker, right? Gaster's asking us, oh, are we connected? Oh, are you there? Do you hear me? And stuff like that. And it's yeah. And another thing is, the Red Soul can use all the powers of the other souls. And I find that weird. Because each soul is supposed to have its own individuality. The Red Soul is the only one that can not only use the other powers of the soul, but it doesn't have its own, soul trait. Determination is a thing possessed by all humans, regardless of soul color, so it can't be that. I guess the soul trait could be power, but that's not really a personality trait like the other ones. I guess perseverance isn't really that much of a personality trait either, but I guess. There's I literally, the theory is basically the Red Soul is a creation of Gaster, just to connect our world to the worlds of Undertale and Deltarune. And there's the whole Frisk thing, but also I think there could be something here with Kara, and that Kara obviously had a Red Soul, and that kind of contradicts my theory, because oh, how does Kara have the Red Soul? The Red Soul couldn't have existed at the time because Gaster was there. And I think Kara might have been altered to have a Red Soul. Because Gaster was shattered across space and time, he could alter time in some way. But he can't change he can't change the events of what happened. He can only alter them slightly. It's like how you can't change the base of a game when modding it. You can either create a whole new game, or you just add a bunch of stuff till it's unrecognizable. A copy, And I think he added the Red Soul to Kara, but he didn't know how to properly use it. And I think Kara's Red Soul is the only one without a proper connection between any actual player. So Kara now having the ability to change and alter the world because she has the powers of a player now, but is still tied to the game. She can't exist outside of it, really. And so she's tied to the game and she can't leave, and she's doomed to die by the narrative. And the only way she is able to actually fundamentally alter the game is when you actually give her Frisk, which is your vessel. Because Kara is dead. She doesn't have her own body. She's just kind of a voice in the code, or I think literally just a narrator voice at the save points. But when you do the genocide route, you're just transferring over her consciousness to your vessel, which is why the color changes. I just thought of that on the spot. That's fire. Right, and also the reason Kara still forgets even after a quote-unquote true reset. I don't know what that is, but I had someone tell me about it. I think the reason she still forgets is because she's still tied to the fact that it's a video game. She still exists within the bounds of the game. So if the game is, I guess, truly reset, then she can't really do anything to stop that. She doesn't exist outside of the bounds of the game the way Gaster does. I also think this is partially why Frisk is able to even encounter the Gaster followers and Gaster because Gaster should not exist to anyone. And you'd think Frisk would react to Gaster or his followers in some way, show a little bit of autonomy. But they don't. It's so weird. No one really talks about it. It was a meme for a little bit, but it's so strange that Frisk just doesn't acknowledge the Gaster followers. Unless they were used to the sight of them. And maybe they could see them because they're special. They're their vessel. But yeah, basically a recap, the Red Soul is a creation of Gaster meant exclusively for us to play the games Undertale and Deltarune, and giving us access to the power of the other souls. Well, because the Red Soul isn't a traditional soul, it's not supposed to exist in either world. Deltarune, Frisk is a goner, and Frisk is a goner that we painted in with care, doing either the Genocide or Undertale route, and Kara is a human with a red soul, just without the player connection, so they have all the powers of a player but are still bound to the limits of the game itself. That's kind of the gist of it, but there is smaller evidence, like how the red soul is never given a proper personality trait. There's no justice, there's no patience. Some think it's determination, but I think that's just a thing all humans have, especially given that Undyne and the Amalgamates have it, so it's not a soul-specific thing. As far as we know, Chris is the only human in Deltarune, so we can't really prove that there's other Red Soul users. We can't really prove that there's any other Soul users, frankly, that can seal the fountains, but it is kind of strange that the only way we seal the fountains and destroy a Titan is with the Red Soul. Almost like it was created for that purpose, you know? I think that's it. it's also, it's, there's a bit more actually. The Red Soul, is an anomaly jumping through space and time during the Sans' genocide fight. He says something like, "Oh, there's timelines here and there, or whatever," and I do think that is implying that like that's like a bunch of different instances of Undertale, all with their own Red Soul. That I'm just imagining like Gaster being like a factory worker making a bunch of red souls for like right-wing chuds. So and yeah, so just a bunch of instances or anomalies being made in the space-time continuum because it's not supposed to exist in this world traditionally. And the same applies to Deltarune. Sorry. It's also implied that the Red Soul isn't Chris's original soul, which I personally believe there's not a lot of evidence there. It's mostly just a color in one thing. But considering they said Chris changed entirely one day, I'm willing to believe that one day, that the day that Des disappeared, is what happened. Now, this does lead me to my theory, a different theory I have. There's not a lot of evidence for it, but it was just made because I personally believe Death Knight, and I don't really like Chris Hell Knight. That one, I just don't like. It's perfectly fine as a theory. I just don't really like its story potential, really. I don't think it would be great from a story perspective, and that's the main thing I care about when it comes to theories. I don't think this one's that great from a story perspective either. It's just rule of cool, you know. Unless it is, and I'm bad at storytelling. But I think maybe because Des went probably missing the bunker. Probably. So, and that might be where Mr. WG is, Lyndon Baxter. And so I'm like thinking, what if like Gaster is what if the deal Chris made that got Des taken is like Chris, like Des was dying or something, so in order to save Des, Chris gave up their autonomy, their original Cyan Soul Heart, in exchange for the Red Soul Heart, so Gaster could use them for whatever experiment he had going on. Which would kind of contradict the Goner Maker and the two different speakers theory, but or not theory, that there is just two different speakers. It would contradict that, but maybe as like a backup plan. And I think Gaster or something used the Cyan Soul, or whatever soul Chris originally had, and fused that with Des, which is why all the Chris stuff, it's not a perfectly sound theory. I'm sure you could poke so many holes. You could poke a lot of holes into any Knight theory, really. But you could poke a lot of holes in that one, especially. It's not something I 100% believe. I just think it's fun, and that's the whole theory. I just think it's a fun little thing. It's something fun to think about, you know. It's not. I don't mean for it to be like believe. I personally believe it. I think it'd be cool, but that's just like the lore head of me talking. There's part of me that wants like an actual story. Like the part of me that just wants Toby to tell the story without me constantly theorizing and making it cool over everything else and Lyndon Gaster. Even though both parts of me want Lyndon Gaster, because it's fucking Gaster. Like, but yeah, that's the theory. Again, I don't. It's just meant to be a fun little theory, and I'm sure there's more you could say in favor and not in favor of it. But wait a second. Actually, Omega Flowey might kind of disprove this theory. I don't know about